All right. Let's see. Oops. I gotta switch back to just showing Zoom since it's just us this time. We don't have a guest. What's up, everyone? Welcome. We are live right now on CannaBuzz and on YouTube simultaneously. I was just gonna pull up CannaBuzz to double check I was right because I couldn't believe it, but I think I'm telling the truth right now.
Boom, victory, folks. We're coming at you.
But yeah, we're live right now. Welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. We have a great show for you today. We have JR, he's back from the DGC Cup. So we're going to be talking all about what happened this past weekend in the Denver area at the DGC Cup 2025. So stay tuned for that. Before we do, let's give a shout out to everyone in the CannaBuzz community. It's our members only app or a website. If you want to just use our website, go to cannabuzz.app in your browser. Use the code BUZZ for 50% off. Or no, sorry, Buzz is your first month free. Growers Love is 50% off. But we created Buzz to give you just the first month free. Join us over there. We'd love your support. Your support helps send JR to things like the Cup and other things like that. Helps us create content, and we really appreciate your support. And we give away seeds. So JR actually just sent me a box of seeds the other day. Excuse me. And we're going to start giving away more of those seeds soon. Also, shout out to our friends at lostcoastplanttherapy.com. If you need an organic IPM spray in your grow, check out Lost Coast Plant Therapy. You can find it at your grow store. You can find it on Amazon or on their website, and we appreciate their support. Last shout out for me goes to sacred3mushrooms.com. If you want to grow your own mushrooms at home, check out sacred3mushrooms.com. You can also grab spores from them at Tanazi Gardens, and you can use that code CannaBuzz for a discount. Thank you so much to Tanazi for his support. And then I'm going to throw it to JR, and JR, you can kick off the show too, since you're kind of reporting back from what you saw.
Reporting to you live.
Yeah.
No, it was really excellent. Such a good time. We'll go ahead and start off with our Tiki announcements. He has on his site on tikicuts.com a variety called Z Rain, and it's Z Skittles by Tiki Rain. And he's got it at a really reasonable price. It's like $68, I believe, something like really ridiculously cheap. And a lot of you know I've been talking a lot about that Tiki Rain. We're going to talk some more about that in the show. It's really it's starting to make a movement for itself, much like the Cherry Paloma did, especially among people who are suffering. So check out tikiscuts.com and check out his Z Rain. It's a really affordable cut. Tiki does a really good job of making sure that you're getting clean, reliable cuts. And then we could talk about rawgenetics.io at Raw Genetics. They have their box set that they're doing, but all of it is a black cherry gelato cross base. Everything from exotic animal crosses to blueberry Z's. So there's all kinds of stuff in there. He's doing 6 feminized seeds per pack, limited edition sticker pack inside. And 10 of those will contain a golden ticket. 10 of 100 will contain a golden ticket, which allows you a shopping spree on his website, which is actually pretty cool because you get to go spend a bunch of money on his gear and you don't have to pay for anything. So it's awesome. Check out rawgenetics.io. All right, folks, let's get into it. We had a lot go on, Q. It was a pretty amazing event. So I thought, first of all, we should just start talking about kind of the overview of what the DGCrows Cup is, just for the folks who may not be aware. What the DGCrows Cup originally started as was a flowery event back in 2015, and then 2000. And that was at actually the Denver High Times Cup in Denver. We just had a booth at that time, and we had Extractor Man give us pizza boxes with just slabs and slabs of dabs. So our thing was we were giving away free dabs, and holy smokes, dude, those guys' arms were tired of giving dabs by the end of the day. But it has progressed and progressed and progressed till now this year at 2025. We were in Longmont, Colorado at Vermilion Hill is the venue, and it is gorgeous. It's got this beautiful giant log cabin, a really beautiful built out barn space, and a big field that's right in front of a lake. They have RV camping and tent camping available. And they do vent. This is their first year doing events, and their staff was amazing. They did a really, really good job. And of course, the dude who really is the key organizer of this entire event. He has a support staff of the Do Grows, but him, Warehouse Kyle, Banner, and Mrs. Dude were just crushing it. And if I left anyone out, I'm terribly sorry. But basically, what happens is you walk up and you get 5 tokens, you get a chillum, you get a lighter, and you're allowed to taste. This year we had 69 entries this year for flower. And you're allowed, there's bud tenders at each table, and you're allowed to try any uh, sample or number as many times as you want, and then you cast your vote. And at the end of the day, we do the tally. And they did a really good job of logging all the entries and, in a spreadsheet, and kept really good track of everything this year. And we had some amazing, amazing stuff. And so Friday night was the VIP party, and that's kind of where I'll get started with some of our genetics talk, because there was a lot of genetics going around at the event this year. Um, and so at the VIP party, it started in the evening. It was in the barn area, this beautifully built out barn.
I
Um,
was gonna jump in here too, by the way. So previously, when I went to my first DGC Cup, I think I can't remember when that was, 2019 maybe, 2018. It was in Denver at a Cultivated Synergy, I think that's what it was, right? And then eventually you guys had to move out of that spot. And last time I was at the 2023 one, and that's when it was outside. I think it was kind of like someone's
farm.
farmhouse area, yeah. And so, but now when I was looking at some of the videos from social media and stuff like that, it looks like it's obviously a different space, and it looks like more legit this year. So that's what I was kind of excited to see, that it seemed like an upgrade this year.
Vermilion Hill was definitely a level up for the Do Grows, and the staff there was absolutely amazing. We had great support from caterers. So it was a well planned event that allowed people to not get hungry or get thirsty, which is crucial. They did have 500 milligram lemonades available, and we did have a couple folks, including Scotty Real, not underestimate the power of a 500 milligram lemonade. Let me just say that. So yeah, I was lucky enough to be invited to have a happy hour table, because we do the happy hour show for the Do Grow show. Me, Soup, and One-Eyed Cat Cannabis every Friday at 4:20. And there's links for that on the Discord for Do Grows and on realdgc.com. And it's Grow Talk heavy. So they gave us a table there and allowed us to sell our wares. And I had brought my product offerings, which were my Dit's Amazing Rub. And it was really great because I had a ton of people come up to me and already tell me that, it had helped them a lot. And I had people tell me they appreciated me sharing the recipe because it helps their Nana. So it was a good. I sold out of the Dit's Amazing almost the first night. I should have brought more. But the other thing I brought was my mullein tincture, because I'm really trying to get people turned on to the mullein plant and the benefits of that. And I also brought lion's mane tincture that I
Nice.
made from acquiring lion's mane from my local farmer's market from an organic mushroom vendor. Um, and so the reason I wanted to offer these things is because as stoners over time, there are certain things that we could sometimes run into as far as issues go. One of them is our lung health, because anytime you're combusting anything, it's not exactly great to do it a lot. So I started making and using Mullein a while ago, and I use it now even for my allergies. I'll do Mullein, local honey, and lemon every morning, and it's amazing. It really works well. So I'm trying to kind of focus on some things that kind of help us. In the lion's mane mushroom, there's so much now clinical information about the benefits of cognitive repair and your ability to, maintain your memory and all that good stuff. And so I was able to set up a booth and sell those along with Soup from the Happy Hour, who has his genetics. And we might as well go ahead and jump into some of that because there was some amazing genetics going around. All right,
Yeah, so
go
let's
ahead.
see. Let's see. We had what? Well, for to start, did you want to start with indoor Dankster? Is that the first
Yeah.
breeder you wanted to bring up? Okay, cool. Well, I'm with you.
Well, a lot of the people I'm going to mention are community breeders, and I think that's one of the cool thing that's happening within a lot of the cannabis communities, especially now that the reversal sprays are easily obtained and pretty easily used if you have the space and the time. And so, Indoor Dankster is someone that I've been working with over the last year or so, and he said he wanted to do a reversal of the Tiki Rain. And I said, great, I'll send you a bunch of cuts. And so I sent him some Hawaiian snow cone. I sent him that Z Pie #1 that I really liked. And he also has one that he did with Rollin' Fatties. So he crossed a bunch of them with the Tiki 1 and then the S1 of the Tiki Rain itself. And so the seeds that we brought were basically all freebies. So if you came up to the happy hour booth and you mentioned the happy hour, you got a pack of seeds. Um, Also, I wanted to mention the stuff that Soup was giving away because Soup the gardener was there with his new breeding projects, um, which were amazing because he has this Paloma Pith that he has right now, which is like a really strong sativa that was crossed with a cherry Paloma. And so it's going to have some potential to have some longer sativa flowering offerings in there. So Soup was busy. He did a really good job. And the cool thing is Jay Maestro showed up with some of his Paloma Nights, which, as you'll see as we talk in, they're placed in the top 10, which is really cool. So the Paloma Nights that Maestro brought was amazing. I mean, it looked really, really good. Jay Maestro is a master of this culinary art or this cultivaring arts. And then we had Cultivator Savant hit me up. He has another cherry paloma cross that he did, and Do You Right also was there, and he gave me his, and this one I'm really stoked about because it's a marshmallow OG cross by Jam Sesh, and Frosty McNuggets was there. And he brought his dabs, and he had that marshmallow OG, and it's like a really strong, true tasting OG of the pheno that they had, which I'm hoping to get a cut here shortly. So Do You Right had some offerings there. Someone out of Florida came to me and gave me this really awesome gift bag. And it was really cool because he has some varieties that he's working on that are CBN THC varieties that are good for sleep. He has his Mr. Big Runts by Sleeping Beauty, and I tried
Interesting.
some of the Sleeping Beauty as a CBN only variety, and I got to say it was really amazing.
So
Um,
it's a strain that's heavy in CBN.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What did you notice about it? Anything different or yeah?
I gotta tell you, at the end of the night, I mean, there was so much smoking going on, and it was just an endless gauntlet of edibles and stuff. So
Sure.
it's hard. So
That makes
I brought
sense.
it home to my wife, and she said she liked it a lot. She thought it did help her sleep. Um, and let's see who else. We also had, I gave away a lot of these LL Cool Beans packs that he sent us. That at the table for people who came up and mentioned the happy hour, they all got free seeds and stuff. Mushpocalypse sent me with some tasty chocolates and edibles to give away at the booth. So the booth was popping again. I had some Kid Frost or Frost Roll Genetics from Kid Frost. He also gave up some packs earlier for giveaways. And I still have another pack of his Rainbow Freeze lefts for giveaways. So it was a lot of genetics flowing through the building, that's for sure.
Um, I'll jump in on you mentioned soup or growers love seeds, right? I was excited that he's doing some of those longer crosses. I thought that was really interesting. I saw him tease that on Instagram over the weekend, and I didn't know that's what he was doing. These or he was kind of experimenting in that direction. That's really cool. So, has he grown anything that's from those crosses yet, or is it kind of just he made the seeds and now we'll see what they grow like, I guess.
He did not bring any samples of the flower, and I think
Yeah.
he's in mid-flower with it now.
Oh, cool.
But one thing I did want to mention is he did have the machine
Okay.
from Rasta Jeff, and he crossed that with a cherry paloma, and he had that there. Those were his freebie packs that he was giving away this year. Um, some of the other stuff I wanted to mention was the winners. We had some fantastic winners this year. And it was really wild because the person, Andy B, who won first place with the Mac 1 organic, Mac 1 is the strain that won the QGrows Cup in Portland, Oregon in 2019. So here it is, this for 2025, and that
And it's still
Mac
winning.
it's still taking first place all over. And I had submitted the Thin Mint cut of the Girl Scout cookies at that time, and I took second place at that cup. But the Mac, I mean, it was amazing. It just blew people's minds. Um,
And can I jump in here?
yeah.
Um, so just to explain to people that haven't been to Dude Grows Cup or they just aren't familiar with it. So what people can bring, they can register as a flower entry and they somehow get their flower to Denver. And they enter, about what is it, like an ounce or something like that?
Yeah, minimum of an ounce. Anything over usually gets donated.
Cool. So yeah, so you come with a jar basically of weed, and um they have, however many entries. In previous years it's been around 50. What was it this year?
69.
60. Nice. So we had 69 entries. So basically you have like 69 jars of weed, and you were saying earlier everyone got a chillum like previous years, is that right?
Yep, yep.
So everyone gets a chillum, which is like a glass pipe if you're not familiar. And you get to walk up to whatever jar of weed you want, and you get a little bit, you put it in the chillum, and you light it up with your however you want to light it. And it's enough to get a taste. Obviously, you can keep coming back, I guess, if you want to have more extended experiences with a particular entry or something like that. But at the very least, it's enough to get the taste of it, and you get to the sight of the bud, and you can smell it if you want to. So you at least get to do those things. The effects, like you were saying earlier, it's harder to parse the effects because you're trying however many entries. I don't know if people tried to try all 69 entries like in previous years, or people tried to do all 50.
They did this year. I had two people come up to me and tell me that they tried all 69 entries, and one was a female and one's a male. They both were rocking it this year. And the the entries this year, I mean, every year it's a level up. I mean, because in the beginning, in 2000, 16, things, good genetics were still getting on their way to getting passed around. Where now there's fire everywhere. I mean, I talked to people all over the United States and some all over the world, and they all had fire and they all showed pictures of fire. So good genetics, has been getting spread around has been a big deal. And second place was one. Oh, I wanted to go back to first place again. 4 years in a row, Living Soil Organics has taken first place in the Do Grows Cup 4 years in a row. But second place was Grow Fire Farms with their Super Booth, and they were salt growers. Peach Grows had that maple nectar, and they're a Synganic grower. They kind of followed us in the Do Grows community for a long time. Fourth place, Too High Crew with Mommy's Milk. It was Synganic as well. Fifth place was JJ's Cherry Paloma by FX3, which I don't know what that is, but it was salt and it won fifth place, or it tied fifth place with X-Ray's Paradise Pine. And I didn't get a chance to try it. It was crazy busy there. And I regret that. And then in sixth place was Operation 1620. And we're going to talk a little bit about them here in a bit because they're going to be a guest on the show, and they were one of the vendors there. But they all got sixth place with their Cherry Paloma token cut. I had sent it to the community. Variant Goof Off with Salts got sixth place. And Grind Smoke Repeat had a Rainbow Sherbet 11 by Drip Station grown in salts. Seventh place was Bartman, and he had Soup's Paloma Nights. Bum, bum,
Oh,
bum,
cool. That's
bum.
cool.
Yeah, so a lot of people have found some really amazing varieties in Soup's Paloma Night seeds.
I've got a baby behind me that's just causing mayhem. So
Good.
if you guys can hear him every once in a while, that's what's going on. So let's see, what was I gonna ask? Well, I got in touch with X-Ray because he's growing the Paradise Pine, and so I was interested about that because I'm growing a cut of it, and it sounds like he's growing a different sort of pheno than the one that I'm growing, which is interesting to see. And then he was also talking about how he just felt like it was he just had kind of critiques of his own grow. It was funny. It wasn't like a perfect grow for him. It was just something that he entered and he happened to get fifth place or tie for fifth place, which I thought was interesting. So it must have meant to me I'm guessing just the taste must have kind of stood out from the other things that were there. I don't know. It was just kind of interesting to hear his perspective of the grow.
Yeah, there was no shortage of talented growers there. That's the other thing about the Do Grows event is it is a growers event, so it's not like where you go to a trade show and there's like, a variety of folks showing up. This is 99.9% growers and their significant others. So there's a lot of grow heavy people in the community showing up for these events.
Yeah, I feel like it's just great to see since I didn't, go this year. I've got the FOMO or whatever. I view it, through social media and wish I was there. And I'm just glad to see that it looks like it's, getting better every year and it seems like it's well attended. So I hope that makes the event, sustainable or whatever. It helps basically helps make sure that there's one in the future. Because I feel like they're pretty much got the best cannabis event out there and one of the only good ones left in the entire US, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's not happening a lot. I mean, I'm in
Mm.
Oregon and it's like a vacuum here. There's
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, we had I think a Oregon Leaf event, but yeah, we don't have anything big going on in our
Yeah.
area that I'm aware of anyways. We have hopefully some stuff on the West Coast. We've heard nothing from the Emerald Cup
I'm
folks. I haven't.
completely I'm just flabbergasted about what's going on there. I think Tim must have gone rogue and he's doing his own thing cuz he posted something about like Area 101. I saw, posts from that account flooding coming up out of the blue. So I wonder if like does Emerald Cup exist anymore? Did they decide it's too tough to be legal and now they're gonna kind of go back to their roots? I just wonder. I don't know, but the California cannabis market, they just had the taxes, for the most recent quarter or whatever it was come in, and it was the lowest quarter in years. Like, so the state cannabis market in California is not doing too great, and it seems like that's kind of the state in a lot of places in the U.S., right? Seems like times are
Well,
tough.
there's also the statement of the California state legal market isn't doing
Sure,
well.
sure.
Um, as to the market as a whole, I don't think it's doing well. People are suffering.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of vendors and a lot of people who are businessmen who are scaling down, and they are learning to either diversify, get new ways to get their products out there, or they're just struggling. And that's the thing is things are changing for folks so fast, it's hard. And that's why events like this we need to do more of because that helps people get their products, their faces, and it gives people a place to sustain commerce because we have to have industry along with culture. We've always been about that here on this platform, is trying to represent the culture and the industry. Some people say our episodes are like infomercial for some of these reps, but I never let these reps go without picking their brains, and sucking them dry of their
Yeah,
knowledge.
we're trying to learn from them, and at the end of the day, we all, you know, unfortunately, we live in a society where we all have to figure out how to pay our bills, and a lot of us hope to be able to pay our bills with the thing that we're passionate about, right? And a lot of us here are passionate about cannabis. So, if folks, just so happen to create a business in the cannabis and they're passionate about it and want to work in it, blah blah blah, like that's fine with me. That's why we've talked with Scotty, right? Scotty with from the Dude Grow show. He's able to they're able to make the podcast sustainable because they have real growers as like a companion business alongside it, and I don't necessarily think they created one for the other or whatever, but um things worked out that way at the very least. And it's just kind of a supporting symbiotic relationship there. So anyways,
Yeah,
before
and
we go
I
too far off in a tangent, sorry, go ahead, and we can get back to, because I wanted to talk a little bit more about the cup as well.
yeah, the cool thing is every night we had a after party at Scotty's place, and on Saturday night after the Flower Cup, and it might have been Sunday night after the Hash Bash, yeah, we had a session in the bakery there, and there was a bunch of heavy podcasters there. I got to talk to Mr. Growit for quite a while, and we were talking about that exact very thing about that kind of formula that's been set forth where you have a product that you sell on the podcast and then the product proceeds pay for the podcast that sell the product, the blah blah blah, that whole chain of events. And so it was interesting talking to some of those dudes. I think there was like eight or
Yeah.
nine pretty heady content creators there, so it was really wild. It was a good time.
Yeah, I saw the
um
videos. It was, and some of them have already posted on their main channels. It was just cool to see everyone kind of getting along and supporting each other. Because scenes aren't always like that, I guess. So it's cool that at least this kind of the grower centric YouTubers part of this scene, so to speak. It's cool to see them all supporting each other in this way and kind of going to this event, and then they post videos on their channel and all that good stuff.
Man, two of the people that I really enjoyed hanging out with this last weekend was Chad Westport and I can THC. You know, those guys, they're kind of in their group, a group of their own as far as content creators. They do it on a different level, I guess you'd
Yeah,
say. And ICANN is always someone who gives me mad respect and lots of love. So shout out. And Chad Westport and I are trying to get something regional. As speaking of having events, we're going to try to do some regional Northwest West Coast event here coming up.
nice. That would be sick. Um, we had someone in the chat. Let's see, Sean said, I know they had a concentrate day. What about an edible day? That would be pretty interesting. But you also, did you go to the concentrate day? Could you talk a bit about that? Because we didn't really talk about that.
Yeah, no, that's kind of our last little segment here. But before we get to that, I wanted to shout out some of the vendors.
Okay.
Um, I especially wanted to shout out Fatty, PHATTY_McPeach. She is a tattoo artist who shows up every year to give people amazing art. This year I got the first tattoo I've ever had in my whole life. 55, and I got my first tattoo. As you know, this month we had a lot of loss in my family. I lost my mother, who I was estranged at the most literal terms to the words estranged, and I also lost my mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law has been in my life since I was a 16-year-old kid, and she was someone who was actively in my life every day of my life. And so it was a big loss for me. And she was the kind of person who would help people. People in her community sometimes were struggling, especially the newer Hispanic people who would come into the community. She helped out a lot, and they couldn't pronounce her name correctly, so they called her Shadow. And so I had Fatty tattoo the word shadow on my wrist for me. And I look at it all the time, every day. And I can't thank Fatty enough. She did a fantastic job. And if you go on her IG site, she's at Shades of Gray Ink. Um, is her studio that she has there in Tucson. But man, her black and gray work is off the charts. I mean, her level of skill, I mean, having her attention, I should have got more than just one word. I mean, she does. If you look at her site, some of her work is amazing. And she does do the shows, like the tattoo shows that go around the United States. So you can find her there. And of course, I want to shout out to Sacred Three Mushrooms, one of our sponsors. Tanazi was there. And they're always handing out all kinds of goodies at the event. And I did their microdose. They offered a A+ wing dinger. I don't remember, but I did it every day. It was like a double shot of espresso with some love.
That's awesome. So I was excited to see some of these other vendors that were there. I'm interested in talking about. So you mentioned Sacred Three Mushrooms. Let's talk about Bio 365 and Blue Mats, I think. I always used to call it Blue Mats. Blue Mats, Blue
Me too.
Mats. I don't know.
I thought they were French or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. Yeah, they both had booths in next to my table. Sebastian was there from Bio 365, and they're always really strong with the cocoa community. People really seem to like the water retention in their cocoa. And Sebastian is going to come back on the show shortly. I'll have to get him booked back on. He's been really trying to lock down the West Coast, because they have such a strong presence and retail presence in the Midwest to East Coast. But breaking into some of these larger legal states where the hydro shops just pretty much don't exist, or soil depots, it's tough. And so he's trying to get established in those communities and do well. Um, that was good seeing those guys there. But the next group of folks I want to talk about is the Operation 1620 folks.
Okay.
Um, they're a military advocacy organization that helps vets transition into plant-based, fungi-based therapies. And so that could be everything from the cannabis world to ibogaine. I talked to him about the ibogaine episode that we did with Jenny. So they're helping these guys navigate all of this kind of plant-based and fungi-based medicines. And so we're going to have them on here in a couple weeks to talk about their organization and what they do, because it's not just advocacy to the politicians and generals. It's education, it's distribution of medicine, and distribution of clones. I sent them a cherry paloma a long, long time ago, and apparently it's a favorite amongst the military community, and it's spreading like wildfire, which is great. Um, so I'm excited to have them on. It should be really good. We had two glass blowers there, artists there. One was Wags Glass, and I picked up this piece right here from them. As you can see, it is gorgeous. Very affordable. I only paid $60 for this beautiful hand blown gorgeous piece, man. Really, really nice. And he was sitting there doing demonstrations the whole time. And this could kind of lead us into the hash bash, which was day 3. And let me tell you, it was a gauntlet queue because every night after every event, we did after parties, until like, 1 in the morning on some of them. And it was insane. It was a lot of stuff.
That's
But
late
yeah,
for JR. JR's usually turning it in around like 8, 9 o'clock. You're like, time to head back to the Airbnb.
yeah, because back in the day, by then I'd be hurting so
Yeah,
bad I would
right.
just be totally drained and wiped
So
out.
you must
But
have rallied for this.
yeah, I've been training all year. I told those guys I've been training doing gardening and farming, urban farming to train for this, and
That's cool.
trying to get farm strong again. Getting farm strong again. So yeah, it was good. I was up at 8 in the morning, worked that whole day, went home, bottled up more dit till like 2 in the morning, got up the next morning at like 8 in the morning and did it again. And so
Awesome.
I was able to rally strong. I'm healthier and stronger than I've ever been in my adult life, probably.
That's awesome. And you got a lot of support in the chat too.
Yeah,
Um
thanks everyone. I'm terrible at watching the chat and talking at the same time, but I'm definitely seeing you all and I love you all. Thank you.
so let's see. So Taken Tops and Turpicana Kyle, those were the two guys that coordinated the hash bash, is that right?
Yeah, and this was their first year. And let me tell you, coordinating events is not easy. There's many parts of the machine that have to all be clicking and working in order for everything to come off really cool. And Taking Tops and Turpicana Kyle both did an amazing job. And Turpicana Kyle, he's has a new extract brand, the Extract Cellar, and it's a new project that he's doing. And so be looking out for that. In the meantime, you can hit up Turpicana Kyle on Instagram, and you can hit up Taking Tops as well. Taking Tops has been in the Do Grows community for years. I think in 2022 is the year that I first met him, and he came to the Do Grows Cup. We're literally like grocery boxes full of mushrooms. I mean, just a butt ton of mushrooms. And so he's one of those kids who aren't afraid to flex his entrepreneurial spirit. And I appreciate that. a lot.
Yeah, no, it's amazing when you go um to the cup and all the commerce that takes place. We don't really need to go into the details on the recorded internet, but you know, if come to the Dude Grows Cup with some money in your budget to take home some goodies or what have you, cuz there's all kinds of things, like anything in this scene people can talk to you about or whatever it is. So it's really cool. It's just a like going back to what we were talking about earlier about events. Um, if you're a grower, this is a great event because everyone you can talk to is also a grower. So at the very least, you can go nerd out about growing. You know, if you're kind of searching for something to talk about. And so it's just one of the best shows if you're a grower, where like if you think back to like the High Times Cup or even like an Emerald Cup or whatever it is, those things try to be more like consumer facing, quote unquote,
Yeah, for sure.
whatever that means. And so, you know, usually that means like booking some music artist from 20 that was relevant 20 years ago and booking them, and you know that's what the, you know, a lot of the budget goes towards, where you know this event is just about growers and just a chance to like basically smoke a ton of weed and nerd out about
Level
growing.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you
I
can
think it's
level
a
up.
great opportunity.
I mean, even me, I've been in this shit for, I think coming up this month, I think is my 10-year anniversary of teaching people how to grow weed on YouTube. The original JR Tokin YouTube channel is still there, but it's going to turn 10 years. And even still, I learned shit this weekend. There was some amazing people with a wealth of information.
So let's get into, want to get into the winners, or you also
Yeah.
you have in your notes about the dab bar. I don't know if you wanted to like talk about
Oh,
that.
they just had a fully functional free dab bar. The line was a bit long, obviously, but they had a bunch of amazing flavors that you could just roll up. You could bring your own rig too. That was the cool thing about the hash bash. And we might as well get into the competition style. It was just like the Dude Grows style. You were allowed to use your own rig, or the dab tenders would do the rig for you. And they had the ability, or you had the ability to also bring your own rig and do your own thing. And so they had a section with all the entries. You can sniff, look, and do all that stuff, the jars. And then you would go to your dab bar and they would be assigned numbers 1 through 4 and 5 through whatever, on and on and on. And so you would do the same thing. You would I mean, trying 69 strains is overwhelming, but trying 25 dabs is also extremely overwhelming. And so people were doing it, brother. People were doing it. So that's kind of how it got down, just in the similar fashion of the community votes.
Before we move into winners, do you feel like, was there a difference in people, were they just like completely wasted on that Sunday or whatever, the third day when they're when it's doing dabs versus flower, I guess? Because I remember the first Dude Grows Cup I went to at Cultivated Synergy, and like a dude like fainted. So I'm
Yeah.
like, is that going down, or no? Everyone's got tolerance and they can hang.
It's wild because the vibe of the crowd was totally different than Flower Day. There were some of the Flower Day people that showed up on Hash Day, but Hash Day was a lot of local heady Colorado dudes. Nika T was there. Nika T also, he placed, I believe, third with his orange candy. So there were some heady hash guys there, and it was a completely different vibe because it's so funny. Everybody's sitting down to a rig, some kind of torch situation, a pickle bucket that has the alcohol so they can get their buckets in and out. And that seemed to be the theme of the day. A lot of people had really intricate globes on their Puffcos and the Puffco pipe on. All of that stuff was there. So yeah, it's funny as you would think people would be totally like annihilated, but like you said, the tolerance on these guys I mean, I do 2 dabs and it's a wrap, bro. I'm done for hours. I don't need to do 25. I couldn't even imagine. But yeah, some of the winners, number one, first place winner, GMO, which is another strain that's been around for a very long time. And it was grown in living soil and it was presented as rosin. And now at this hash bash, there was no categories, there were no segmentations. It was bring it, smoke it, and we'll judge it. And so second was Candy Fumes by Orange Mints. Third place was the Orange Candy. In fourth place, which I'm really stoked about, was Straw Nana from Frosty McNuggets. And Frosty McNuggets has been in the community and been going to do grows cups
Yeah,
from
man.
back in the
He's
day.
legit.
And he's always been a hash guy. He's never
Yeah.
really been a flower guy.
Isn't he
And
the guy with the
so
refrigerator?
yes.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to be able to see him come and flex. I think he should have, if he would have entered that Marshmallow OG, I think he would have been up there in first and second. But the Straw Nana is powerful. Like I said, we have some of those Straw Nana crosses to give away that were in that box that I sent you. So look out for some of those giveaways for the Straw Nana because it's a humdinger folk singer. Fifth place was Papaya.
Awesome. That's exciting, man. Oops. Yeah, you got me excited about, you were talking about doing one of your own kind of cup out there on up in, what are you thinking, kind of the Portland area?
Portland
Sounds like,
area.
yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds really cool. Yeah, and you made me want to try something. Maybe someday we'll try something here in Vallejo. We could maybe even just bring their outdoor harvests or something like that. But I
I
just love
think
the idea of people getting together, even just smaller things. It doesn't need to be like a big shindig.
I think that's kind of the future for commerce is these local regional events.
Yeah,
Our good buddy just did a hash competition, Mushmouth, and he got his regional. He took third in regionals, and now he was competing in nationals. And so I would like to see more regional events. We don't need like back in the day when we went to the Seattle Hemp Fest, there'd be like 30,000 people there, man. Like
yeah.
just insane amount of people. And um, I just I just don't see that kind of focused energy in one spot anymore for a cannabis event. And that's why I think there is power in these regional cups. And I think we should promote it. I'd be down to set up a booth at any regional cup that wants to have us, you know?
Or even just kind of like taking inspiration kind of from what Matt's doing in Michigan, where it can just be a smaller event where people are just hanging out, and it maybe doesn't even need to be your own cup. It's just like everyone bring your own grown weed and we'll pick a winner. But I don't know, it's more just an opportunity for everyone to come together and hang out, and the competition is kind of like the excuse to do it. um Obviously, in the case of the Dude Grows Cup, there's also just the bragging rights of being able to place up that high. I thought it was cool to see in the social media post, the Instagram posts for the Dude Grows Cup. You saw folks like Johnny from Huckleberry Hill Farms. He was commenting and congratulating X-Ray, the winner. Sorry, not winner, but he got fifth with the Paradise Pine. So I think it's fun to see people have something to be proud of, and really kind of, you see, when I've gone to the Dude Grows Cup before, you see when people win how much it affects them. Like, some of these guys go up and they give their speech and they're crying, and it's because they're so proud of themselves, and they've got, their support network, their partner or their wife or whatever. And it's so cool to see the pride that people have, how much they put into this flower or this concentrate.
And I think part of the biggest reason is is because it's not being judged by a bunch of folks in the industry or limelight of our community, who may or may not really be that great at judging cannabis. This is judged by the people, by the growers. These are people who know what chronic is, and so when someone calls your name out for first, or even I got second place, man, I tell you what, dude, it's crazy. The first time I won second place in Portland, there's maybe 200 of us. But this level this year was like about close to 400 people, and so you really had to bring your A game. And I would assume that was true with the event for the Hash Bash, and I got to try two entries, entry number 3 and number 10, and both of those entries placed within the top 10, and they were fantastic. One was kind of a peachy, creamy kind of taste, and the other one was just funky gas, which is something I'm really into. There was a small fire at the event, in the barn where we had the dab judging stations and stuff. One of the torches got too close to the bucket of alcohol, and someone knocked over the bucket, and that created an issue. But they got the fire out right away. All of us moved our booze outside under the tent, which was kind of cool because it really consolidated the party. So it ended up really being a blessing, and the way Taking Tops and Kyle handled it was amazing because in life we know there's always going to be shitty shit that happens, right? And it's not what happens, it's how you handle or deal with what happens that determines the outcome of your future. So they did it very well. They handled it very professionally. Show must go on, set up in the tent for the folks who were in the barn, and it was a great party. It was almost like by the end of it, it was so great you almost forgot that it even happened.
Awesome. Well, I definitely, hope to make it next year. I wish they could do these more often. I wish they could have like a summer one and a fall one or something like that.
Yeah.
But I know
Or
it's not easy to do.
no, a 420 and a 710 would be tight, but I don't think that's in the budget for the fellas.
Yeah. Yeah. Um but that's exciting that you might have something cooking for Portland. And then yeah, like I was saying earlier, I love the idea of kind of doing smaller get-togethers of like little local communities. So Mark Stewart in the chat on YouTube was saying, "How can we have one in Minnesota?" Yeah, I just think it takes some of us to be the one that's going to decide to take on all the work and make it
Yeah, it
happen.
is. And there
But
are
yeah,
some obstacles. Really, the big obstacle, the first obstacle is finding a venue that will allow you to have a bunch of
yeah,
people come and smoke weed. Obstacle one. Obstacle two is getting volunteer staff or the budget to hire the staff you need to do the job. And then step three is promotion and figuring out how people will pay to come and hang out. And
yeah.
after that, it's just a matter of clicking in vendors to come vend, setting up tables, and that helps pay for everything. And then you sell the tickets for the event, and that helps pay for everything. And then you take that money and you put it towards even a bigger, better party next year. And you just keep going and going and going. And that's how you make a local event shine.
There you go. Make it happen. Well, let's see. Before we end our broadcast, were there any other things that you wanted to cover on the show? It looks like you
I
had some
did,
other folks mention here.
yeah, I did want to shout out Adam Dunn. He's a legend in our community. He's a person who serves the plant, not the dollar. He gives opportunity to, he's given so many opportunities to so many people. He'll never be thanked enough for what he's done. He's going to be coming on the show. I got his number and I'm going to be hitting him up to get him booked to come on and talk about the Amsterdam days because he was a young kid when all that stuff was going down in the 90s. So it'll be great to talk to him. And also, the last thing I guess I'll talk about is you mentioned some of the unusual things you might run into at the Cup. And this one was awesome. This guy built out a racing chair. He had a nitrous system set up to a dab or to a one of those flipping rigs, the bong rig.
Oh
And
yeah.
so you would press the gas and it would nitrous shoot the hit up into your lungs and you would get a whippet hit. I was not brave enough to
Wow.
try it, but a lot of people were. And I'm assuming he has you sit down in the race car chair just in case you pass out. Because you are in control of the nitrous. Like you hit the pedal and it shoom, shoots the hoot through shoots smoke right through the tube, right down your lungs. So
Damn.
interesting.
Damn.
Yeah. And Mark was there. We've had him on talking about compost. He had some of his books there, and it's always good to see Mark. He's doing great. And man, he was crushing it, dude. He did 2 days of events, and he did a great job. And shout out to Peter Pot Taster. He helps Mark get through the event, takes care of him, gets him where he needs to go. And so shout out to Peter Pot Taster for that. There was a lot of really cool DGC that I got to see there. Fly High 89, man. I've been seeing that guy bring birthday presents to the Dude Grows Cup for years because he comes deep in Prohibition land, and it's just safer to have birthday packages in your trunk than ounces, jars of weed.
Makes sense. Um, yeah, so everyone should keep an eye out for the next Dude Grows Cup. And if you thought this sounds interesting, maybe start setting aside some money in your budget or whatever for next year for a trip to the Denver area. But yeah, it just sounds and looks like a really, really good time. And I'm glad to hear that each year kind of seems to get bigger and better.
Yeah, it was amazing, Q. We missed you, brother. We really missed you.
Yeah, I definitely want to go next time. It looks awesome. Um, I got a baby behind me that's like hitting the wall with a water bottle. It looks like.
That
Um,
means he agrees. You should
yeah,
bring the whole family.
yeah,
I'm bringing my wife and Luca next year. I
nice.
think we're gonna rent an RV and just drive.
That'd be cool.
Oh
That'd be
yeah, it's gonna be great.
well. Thanks everyone who's been watching. We had on the CannaBuzz community, we had Mantis Cannabis 420, PK Ripper 5150, 420 grants. What's up, guys? Thanks for your support in the CannaBuzz members only community. If you want to join us over there, you can download the app on iOS, or if you're on Android or on your computer or whatever, go to cannabuzz.app in your browser. We'd love to see you over there. It's a great way to support the show. And there's a post in there that you can fill out a Google form to put your address in there. And then I periodically throughout the year pick a bunch of people from that list and send them packs of seeds. So that's kind of our thank you back for supporting us. Also, shout out to all the sponsors of the show. We appreciate their support. Um, let's see. So now that we're into the outdoor season, um are you gonna be kind of uploading some videos from your outdoor grow or your indoor grow, kind of the um videos from
Yes.
your grow? What are you thinking?
Yes, this week we're kind of wrapping things up, with the family stuff. And so I'm hoping to be posting a lot more consistently. The direct sow project that I did outdoors, where I planted seed direct in the ground, like March, I think it was crazy, end of March or something like that. All of those are doing beautifully now. And I have my two Tiki Rain set outside that I'm going to be putting those in. They were mothers that are now going to be medicine. And then I'm going to throw in a couple more of the THC variety ones. And at the end of all that RSO garden, I'm going to be cutting down flower, trim everything, and it's all going to go to medicine. The cool thing is I got results back from Farmer Freeman, and my Gushers BX have a good male in there. Well, it's a male. We're going to find out how good it is. I'm going to get that Gushers BX male to also pollinate some of that RSO garden. So that should be interesting because I've never done that before. So we'll see how much seeds I get. Maybe I'll get more seed than RSO. Who knows?
Yeah, I want to try that at some point. Yeah, so this year I've got I you were speaking of mothers that turned into outdoor grows. So I have the paradise pine and the what is it? Voodoo fruit from Plant Stable. So voodoo fruit is the forbidden fruit cross. So I still got those around, and I've got those outside in 30-gallon pots. I picked up some Soil King roots, big roots soil. Shout out to Soil King. Still love his stuff. I just love growing in his soil. The plants love it. So I went and got that at the grocery store recently, and so I've got those growing in 30-gallon pots. And then I've also got from Tangled Roots, they hooked us up with some seeds, and I got from Huckleberry Hill Farms, I've got the White Thorn Rose crossed with Riddles, and Riddles is from um what's his face? I just spaced
Jason
Jason.
Ridgeline.
Yeah, Ridgeline Farms. And Riddles has won some Emerald Cups, or at least they've placed high in the Emerald Cups, if I remember correctly. So I'm excited to see what those crosses are. Those are going to be seeds that I've just sprouted, and I'm going to be putting them outside. And then I'm going to be set before I go away. I'm going to be setting up a blue mats grow set up in my backyard so that everything's just automated, watering while I'm gone. So I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, and on that note, shout out to OC Deb, my wife. She did a fantastic job of taking care of both gardens because my outdoor vegetable garden is popping. I came home to some explosive growth. We had some really, really good weather. So everything's doing really well. I'm doing regular updates with the outdoor garden as well for the vegetable garden year.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, stay tuned to the YouTube channel. We'll try to get some videos made. We're kind of cleaning up my backyard and stuff like that, so things are kind of mess. But once I kind of get things settled, hopefully before the 4th, maybe I can make a video or so, just kind of show what I've got going on this year in the outdoor grow. And then when I get back and later in July, I can kind of give an update on things as they go into flower or get ready to go into flower. Um, but I hope you're all doing well in your outdoor grow. Or if you haven't gotten started, go get yourself a clone and or start a seed and get some plants growing outside while you can. Shout out to everyone in the YouTube chat. Thanks all. I think we had decent amount of people. We had almost 100 people watching earlier. Right now we have a little over 70 folks watching.
To the
So
end.
thanks everyone
To the end,
watching
folks.
on YouTube. And thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment on our videos, and just thanks everyone for watching. We really do appreciate your guys' support. If you're still watching right now on this impromptu show, you're probably one of our more hardcore supporters or just regular supporters. So we just want to say sincerely, we really do appreciate your support. Also, shout out to everyone on our podcast platforms. I was looking through Spotify, and actually, you mentioned the Ibogaine episode. That episode is doing really well on Spotify for some reason. People must be searching Ibogaine on Spotify and finding that episode, which is pretty cool. So I'm excited to see that people are kind of discovering some of our episodes over on Spotify. So if you like that platform, follow us over there. Just search CannaBuzz, and you can find
Well, you know
us.
what, Q? I think that we've been able to have conversations and put out information that people are just now getting turned on to and tuned into. And so I think if we keep doing the good work, the legacy of the information and the ability to help people level up in all aspects of their life will hopefully be the thing that sustains us for many, many years to come, my friend.
Yep. It's training for people, training for the AI bots. It's all out there.
Exactly. Exactly.
um, well, thanks everyone for watching. We really do appreciate your support. JR was mentioning that he had a lot of folks come up to him at the show and say something about CannaBuzz, which is really cool to hear. We
Couple
had
people wearing shirts. Yep.
nice. We had a bunch of people while we've been streaming today say that they enjoyed meeting you or saying hi to you. So you got a lot of fans there, JR.
Thanks, brother. And shout out to all the folks that were in the YouTube and Grippin' and Rippin'. Get a hold of me on Instagram or through CannaBuzz email.
All right, everyone. Well, that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. We've got more episodes that JR is booking, so stay tuned for that. We'll be doing our next interviews this coming Monday, so that'll be live on CannaBuzz on Monday
And maybe
afternoon.
YouTube.
Yeah, and then we'll have it up on YouTube. And then, yeah, stay tuned for more on the way. We really appreciate everyone's support. And as always, JR,
Growers love y'all.
growers love. Peace, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.